I'm Joie, and here's a quick tour of the van that I'll be living in for the next year. Before I start this tour, two things. One, I know that this is imperfect. There's a lot that could have been done better, but for my first van build and with really no help, I think I did pretty well. The second thing is that I took a lot of inspiration from other YouTubers, specifically from Mike and Heather. If you don't follow their channel, go do it. Their road trip was awesome, and I'm sure I will keep using them as a resource throughout my road trip. Here we go. Starting with the outside of the van, there is only one modification that I made. That was on purpose. I wanted the van to be super stealth. Folks have asked if we're gonna have kayaks and bike racks and luggage racks on the roof, and no. The plan is that the van will be stealthy enough so that if we ever have to sleep in a city, we won't be drawing much attention to ourselves, because overall this just looks like a work van. The only modification I did add that I don't think we could live without is our max air fan. This was a scary install because I had to cut a 14 by 14 hole in the roof of a van, and it turned out pretty well. So the fan is run into our electrical system, so all we have to do is press a button on a remote to have some circulation within the van. There are three main modifications I made to this area, but really nothing major. The first thing is that I added this curtain to separate our driving space from our living space. I like the color blue, so we used it. Next, on the ceiling, I extended the overhead storage. The original storage that sits above the visors in the van was about this long. It was great, but having more of it was going to be really beneficial. So I got a piece of wood and I affixed it to the existing shelf and extended it back and added a lip to it so things don't fall off. And now I have about a 4 by 2.5 piece of space that sits above the driver and passenger seats. The last thing I did was put the max air fan up here so that if we ever start driving and forget that the fan's on, we can reach right here to turn it off instead of having to stop the car, go in the back, and grab the remote. Right when you come into the entryway of the passenger slider door, you see our fridge. It's covered with a cushion so that we have some extra seating, but when you open it, it's a decent sized cooler fridge, and it's a similar size to what we had on the boat, so we think we'll be pretty used to it. Opposite from the fridge is a pop-up desk. These hinges are really cool. They're super strong, and the desk just pops up like this. I added what's a little storage container, but I just use it as a little holder for my iced coffees for when I'm working. When you pinch the hinges, it folds right back down. When I'm sitting on the couch, I have pretty comfortable overhead space. It's not much, but it works for me and Evan because neither of us are very tall. In the throw pillows next to me, they double as storage because they have zipper cushions, so there's no actual pillows inside these cases. It's winter gear, blankets, puffy jackets, things like that. Next to me is one of my favorite features that I just installed the other day, and it's just 2 hooks to hold my ukulele up here. There's no way I could last a year without a single musical instrument in this space, and this was the smallest instrument I could get away with. Around the whole van on the ceiling, I have some LED lights, and they're remote controlled, which is nice. They just plug in and charge with a USB controller, but that's what they look like. I have some other fun colors, but for now, white's fine. This piece of furniture was a really great find. It took me a lot of research to find it and to figure out what I wanted as the kitchen and living space. So this is actually just a kid's mud kitchen that you might have for little kids outside. I had seen similar things. I'm a teacher, so I've seen little outdoor furniture, and I thought that could be kind of perfect since custom mini furniture for vans is really expensive. So this is only a couple $100. I got it from Amazon, and I was surprised that they shipped it down here, but they did. It worked out fine. I got it assembled, and then I made a few modifications, like the slide-out table that I'll show in just a second, but overall it worked out great. I painted it. I added some waterproof clear coat to the top of it so that when we're using the sink, it won't get messed up or warped or moldy. Some storage options that I have here are up here. So I have some office supplies, extra screws, caps to the water jugs, but this will be covered with an elastic net, similar to what you've probably seen in the trunk of a car, so that I can put food storage up here and kitchenware if I need to. Right here, you'll see is also big open real estate. This is eventually going to have mounted baskets on it for extra storage. In this cabinet, I have a tub of a couple different things. I have our mosquito nets on top and then some cookware in the bottom. And I'm sure this will get more full as we start our road trip. This is what the kitchen looks like when the tabletop is pulled out. So when this slides out, it reveals the sink underneath and it drains under the sink. I also have 10 gallons of fresh water, and it is electric pump. A lot of folks use a hand or a foot pump, but this one's electric, which is cool. So it just recharges through a USB cable, and the pump sits inside one of the tanks, and it sucks up the water and brings it to this sprayer nozzle. I decided to install the nozzle off to the back of the van instead of putting it centered over the sink, so that in addition to using the sink, this can also be an outdoor shower. On the end here, I cut down a shoe holder that usually goes over the backs of doors, and right now this has screws, extra hardware from the van build in it, and it also has our water pump. So this will kind of be multi-purpose and just gives us some extra storage solutions. The part of this build that I'm most proud of is the bed. So we have this whole seating area that basically extends the length of the van. And right now it's obviously in couch mode, but in just a second, I'm gonna pull out the bed so you can see what that space looks like. This is what the back of the van looks like once it's in bed mode. The couch slides out, and then you move the backrest cushion to make up the second half of the bed. To make space for the bed, you do have to just pivot the fridge to sit this way, and then you have plenty of space in here. So that's a quick look at my van so far. I know that this is not going to be the final form of the van, and that as soon as we start driving, I'm sure there will be some modifications I need to make. But for right now, I think we're in a pretty good starting place to get rolling in a couple months on our road trip.